Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great day. We are trying to figure out this mess that is the Dallas Cowboys. We have to say shout out to one Dan Quinn, because Dan Quinn, as crazy as it sounds, is only the second coach in the history of the Washington Redskins football team or Commanders to win 12 games in a season. That would be he is joining Joe Gibbs. And this on a team that he just got to there in year one. You know, it's funny because we as Cowboy fans, we chase people out. We chase people out. We say they're a bum, get rid of them, can't stand them, don't want them here on my organization, fire him and get somebody else. Well, the Cowboys, are we on the precipice of something similar to this with with Mike McCarthy? It feels like Groundhog Day all over again, because we're sitting here as all of the good coaches, or all these the hot prospects, they're doing the rounds right now and finding jobs. We're hearing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn being, we're gonna do some interviews, but we're gonna be very, very selective. And I don't think anybody has, if you're a top-notch coach, has the Cowboys on their radar. But let's be clear here. Jerry Jones is stretching this thing out because it's wild card weekend and he's trying to stay in the headlines in the news. Let's be clear. Even if it ends up hurting what he's doing, that's the goal here. He wants to be talked about. It's stirring shit up. If he turns around and says, after we lost on Sunday, Mike McCarthy is going to be our coach, we're going to hammer out the deal, and that's it, we're done. Instead, we have everybody and their sister, guys like me and everywhere else, that are talking about, is Mike McCarthy going to be here? Is he going to talk to the Bears? Jerry doesn't want to end speculation. So that's the way it's going to be. Now, the thing that's going to be crazy is, I think that these things have bit him in the ass a couple of times by waiting and doing this, although it hasn't hurt him in the wallet. But right now, this is getting to be a little bit cray-cray. Now, my question has to be, for Mike McCarthy, is it worthwhile for you to go enter with the Bears? It's not like he's the only guy that they're looking at. Mike Vrabel is seeing everybody. He's seeing the Saints. He's already seen the Jets. He's going to the Bears. He's going to Jacksonville. Well, he can only take one of these jobs. We know that Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn are talking about Jacksonville and Chicago, so to speak. We know that the New England Patriots are pretty high on Mike Vrabel. And so as we go through here and we look at the core of guys that are being looked at, and Kellen Moore, of course, the Bears want to talk to him as well. When you look at the group of guys that you look at and say are the hot commodities, well, they're already out there doing work in figuring out the best situation while the Cowboys are still in the starting gates. What's going to be left by the time the Cowboys decide, if they decide we don't want Mike McCarthy, is basically guys that are retreads, like John Gruden, or, some of the other guys that are out there that are like that have some baggage or have been a failure. Now, if you're the Jets right now, they're re-interviewing guys like Adam Gase, who was there before. And they're kind of having second thoughts that maybe, Saleh wasn't quite so bad after all, because when you start seeing the people that they're bringing in, it doesn't really look good. It doesn't make you feel hopeful that, oh my God, we've got a Hall of Fame coach here. So I want to go through this morning, and they finally are picking it up on ESPN and get their take on the situation. We don't know yet. I was looking for Jerry Jones to see if he is going to be continuing the Tuesday on Sean and RJ show, the Jerry Jones segment on there, which usually is 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, and he wasn't there this morning. So we haven't heard anything about whether or not they're going to grant permission, or if this is going to be an undercover thing where or we just don't know. So
their head coaching vacancy. Jerry Jones hasn't yet said if McCarthy will be back as the Cowboys head coach, but Dallas does hold exclusive negotiating rights with McCarthy through next Tuesday, January 14th. And after that, McCarthy becomes a coaching free agent. The intrigue in Dallas.
Coaches.
It's time to rise and shine. Bring on the Rooster and bring on Dan Graziano and Jeff Saturday. All right, guys, let's talk about this. Graz, I start with you. Where do we stand with Mike McCarthy and his status with the Cowboys?
Yeah, Ryan, you laid it out. Look, I mean, his contract expires tomorrow, but they hold that exclusive negotiating window through next Wednesday. So as of now, they would have to grant the Bears permission if the Bears wanted to talk to him. And so far, as we understand it, they have not. But if McCarthy just wants to wait a week, he doesn't need their permission anymore. So you have a situation where the Cowboys haven't decided yet what they want to do in terms of bringing back Mike McCarthy. He would need a new contract. We have a situation where the Bears are casting a fairly wide net.
I was about to say.
In terms of who they're going to interview. So, it's interesting here. I think McCarthy may be trying to kind of, as you mentioned, hold some leverage over the Cowboys and vice versa. So this is a classic Jerry Jones negotiation situation that if he has his way, we'll drag out and we'll talk about it a lot.
Yeah, and Jerry seems to always get what he wants at the very end. He pushes to the very end and overpay. So good for Mike McCarthy. Probably make a little more money. Yeah. But in all honesty, with the Chicago Bears job, they're going to cast a very wide net. 14 teams are still playing, y'all. Let's not get it confused. There's a lot of coaches that they're going to go interview after they're done. And if you think about from McCarthy's perspective, he's going to take any interview. He's going to want any job that's available if he doesn't have the one in Cowboy land. If you're the Chicago Bears, you're excited about the prospect that he has coached really good quarterbacks. Mike McCarthy has. So maybe that can be an answer for the Caleb Williams. But again, that doesn't mean he's getting the job. Interviews are not getting the job. And so from Mike McCarthy's perspective, any opportunity is a good opportunity. I still think for Jerry, you've had him for a month and a half knowing you're not going to the playoffs. I'm not sure what an extra week is going to do. That's the part that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
That's the part that makes me think he likes the publicity of it all. But I tell you what, you mentioned getting an interview is not getting a job. But still, should Mike McCarthy, Jeff, want to lead the Cowboys for the Bears?
No, if the Cowboys want Mike McCarthy, I think that's the best fit for him. He's been there. He understands the landscape of what is necessary to win in that division now. He has Dak Prescott. He's got CeeDee Lamb. They're going to re-sign Micah Parsons. There's going to be a lot of things. And again, you've built credibility in your locker room. Going to start over is not what anybody wants to do in Mike McCarthy's position. I think he feels good about the way the Cowboys finished. Effort-wise, I'm not talking about record-wise, but effort-wise, all those guys stood up for him and said, hey, they hope he wants to be there, and they would support him being there. I think McCarthy, if he gets the opportunity, will stay in Dallas.
Yeah, when he's had his quarterback healthy, he's won 12 games. That's pretty much the way it goes in Dallas. Look, there's frustration there.
Sure.
I'm sure Mike McCarthy would have loved them to be more active in free agency last year.
You think?
I'm sure there are times where it weighs on him a little bit that the owner is so front and center. These are things you have to deal with if you're the Dallas Cowboys coach. So he knows all of that, and maybe he's a little frustrated. Maybe he'd like some different sort of assurances in his next contract if he does, in fact, stay. But to the extent that he has leverage, I keep coming back to this. He has more to lose. There's no guarantee the Bears hire him just because they want to interview him.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you can keep it going, keep that interest going for a little while, and maybe put some pressure on Jerry. Remaining on Mike McCarthy's contract, the Bears have asked Dallas for permission to speak with McCarthy about their head coaching vacancy.
So that's where we are with this right now. We don't know. We don't know if at the moment it doesn't appear that the Cowboys have granted the request for an interview. But does Mike McCarthy take the chance and say, I'll go interview with them and try and get some leverage, and the Cowboys say, screw you? I would say that the longer the decision takes before they decide, the more the chance is that he's going to be here. Because when you start seeing some of the hot commodities that are going to go, then you start looking at that and saying, okay, there's not too many viable options. And so I'm going to start doing, I'm going to talk about John Gruden and what it would look like having John Gruden here, and is he actually a possibility for the Cowboys? As always, I appreciate you guys, and stay tuned. Shit's going to get bumpy on this ride. Peace.